Welcome to today's video. Ever wondered why wind howls or whispers as it rushes past you? This video dives into the intriguing question, why does wind make sound? Have you ever stood outside on a windy day and wondered why the air seems to whisper, whistle, or roar? Why does something as invisible and silent as moving air suddenly become noisy when it rushes past buildings, trees, or even your ears? Today, we're exploring the answer behind this familiar mystery, and the science is far more fascinating than you might expect. Wind is one of those everyday forces we rarely stop to think about. It's all around us, constantly flowing, shaping weather, carrying warmth, pushing clouds, and rustling leaves. But when wind becomes sound, it feels like nature is speaking. In this video, we'll break down exactly why wind makes sound, how it creates different tones, and what is actually happening in the air when you hear a howl, a whistle, or a soft breeze. Let's begin with the simplest idea. Wind itself is silent. Air molecules moving smoothly together make no noise at all. If you could float alone in a quiet, motionless atmosphere with nothing in the way, even strong winds would be completely silent. The sound only begins when something gets in the wind's path. And this is where things get interesting. Imagine the wind as a crowd of tiny, invisible balls, air molecules rushing forward. If nothing is blocking them, they glide smoothly. But when wind hits something, a tree, a building, a wire, your ear, the flow begins to break apart. Instead of moving in a straight line, the air swirls, tumbles, and forms tiny spinning pockets called vortices. These vortices vibrate, pushing against the air around them. And vibration is the root of all sound. When wind makes sound, it's because objects cause the air to vibrate. Think of a flute. When you blow across the opening, you create turbulence that vibrates the air, and that vibration becomes sound. The same thing happens in nature. When the wind blows across a narrow gap in a window, it whistles. When it rushes through pine needles, you hear a soft brushing sound. When it collides with tall buildings, the vortices grow larger, producing deep, roaring tones that can echo across entire cities. Let's visualize this with an everyday example. Your ear, when wind rushes past you, it doesn't just strike the outer ear, it flows around the curves. Each curve changes the path of the moving air, creating tiny pockets of spinning turbulence. These spinning pockets vibrate the air inside the ear canal, and that vibration, that pressure change, becomes the familiar whoosh or rush you hear. Another example is a simple wire, like a telephone line. When wind hits a wire, vortices form behind it, not randomly, but in a repeating pattern, back and forth, back and forth. This rhythmic pattern can create a steady whistle. Sometimes, if the wind is strong enough, the vibrating wire itself moves like a guitar string played by the sky. Now let's scale this up. Think about trees during a storm. Each leaf becomes a tiny instrument. Some leaves slap together, making sharp sounds. Others flutter like little flags. Branches bend, shake, and rub against each other. A whole forest becomes a giant orchestra, each plant adding its own note to the wind's symphony. What's impressive is that all these sounds, from a tiny whistle to a roaring storm, come from the exact root cause: wind forcing air into vibration. There's no special mechanism, no hidden speaker inside the sky, just air, objects, and motion. Another fascinating aspect of this is how wind speed affects the sound. Slow wind creates gentle, low vibration, soft, calming sounds like rustling leaves. Fast wind creates rapid, powerful vibrations, the kind that produce loud howls or deep thunder-like rumbles. This is why storms sound so dramatic. The speed of the wind dramatically increases the intensity of the vibrations. Let's add one more layer: shape. The shape of an object in the wind matters more than you might think. Sharp edges create high-pitched whistling. Rounded objects create smoother, lower tones. Hollow spaces can trap and amplify vibrations, as when you blow across the top of a bottle. Try this simple experiment at home. Grab an empty bottle and blow across its top to create a sound. Notice how the pitch changes if you angle your breath or change the amount of air inside the bottle. You can also blow through a narrow gap between your fingers or a small opening in a window to hear a different kind of whistling. These hands-on experiments show how varying shapes and sizes affect the sound produced. This is why buildings with sharp corners or narrow gaps often produce eerie howling sounds during strong winds. So, the next time you hear wind whistling around your house, it's not the wind doing the singing, it's your environment playing the music. Now, stepping back, there's something beautiful about this idea. Wind only makes sound because it interacts with the world. Silence becomes noise through connection. Motion becomes music through resistance. It's a reminder that even forces we cannot see are constantly shaping the world around us, creating tiny stories through sound. So why does wind make sound? Because wind is air in motion. And when that motion meets obstacles, the air vibrates. And when the air vibrates, we hear it. Every sound, from a whispering breeze to a roaring storm, is a message carried by moving air. Let this be your takeaway. The world is filled with hidden science waiting in everyday moments. The next time the wind blows past your window or brushes past your ear, pause for just a second. Listen closely. That sound is the story of motion, energy, and invisible waves being transformed into something you can hear. Have you ever experienced an interesting or unusual wind sound? Share your experience in the comments below. Your stories will help create a richer community of shared science and curiosity. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more fascinating science facts, hit like and subscribe for the full playlist. The link is provided in the description. Thanks for being curious with me today. I truly appreciate your time and interest. Stay tuned for more exciting content.